Hello and welcome to another What Sold video. This is everything that sold for me on eBay at the end of July, so July 22nd to July 31st. Miss Moxie is of course here, being her cute little needy self. So I'm going to scoot over here and get to sharing. So the first item I have to share with you is this 90s Joestar, like dark floral swing dress. I picked this up, I believe at the Benz, so I don't have that much into it. It sold for $15. It did take over a year to sell. Mostly that was because it took me forever to list it. I could have done better keywords in there too, but $15, happy it's moved on to a new home. This is another Benz find. I picked this up and put it up for sale on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot, but it did sell on eBay. Really happy to get that $5.50 offer, mostly because of the fact that I probably paid a quarter for this. So I thought it was great. It was like sunshine and beer was the hat. Pretty much a nothing hat, but it moved on to a new home. This is a book from the Benz. I paid 50 cents for it. This is a Mickey Mouse cookbook. You can see here it's vintage, I believe from the 90s. I don't remember the exact copyright date, but it's like from the 90s. And this is to help teach kids how to cook. It's got pretty basic and simple recipes, like, you know, how to cook things with your parents. And I just thought it was really adorable. It's got all the little illustrations in it with Mickey and gang. Sold for my full asking price of $16.87. This is a book from Daniel Abau's estate. You know, I bought a bunch of his books. They all ended up at the Benz. I picked up as many of them as I could find. He was the leading expert in British maritime history who passed away in February, and a lot of his books have value because they are historical nonfiction books. A lot of them also have his notes in them because they would be sent to him to review them because, again, he was the leading expert in British maritime history. This was one of those books I just disclosed the markings, why they're marked up, who marked them up, and that, I believe, helps a lot. This sold for $27.50. I paid 50 cents for this at the Benz. This is a big thank you to Rob. Rob is a viewer of the channel and also my Twitch channel, and he's just been kind of awesome. He supports me on my book channel. I think that's how he found me. But he bought these glasses, so he bought a set of Culver highball glasses and he bought a set of vintage Libby glasses. Rob, thank you so much. You can see it says refunded. That's because I refunded him some of the shipping since I was able to ship everything to him. I hope you've still been able to use them, and again, I really appreciate your support. You're super kind about the glasses and you're just super great to me overall. So hopefully I provide enough content and interest to you to make it worth everything that you've done for me. I really do appreciate it, Rob. This is not a viewer sale, but a viewer reached out to me a while ago and asked if I'd go thrifting with her, and we went to the Benz. Taylor, thank you very much. We had a really good time. At least I had a really good time. Hopefully she did as well. It was really great to go thrifting with somebody, and she was awesome, and she also brought me a bunch of stuff that, you know, she had gotten in thread-up boxes that the Visal Trades hadn't taken or that she wasn't interested in listing, and this is one of those items. I was like, I'll happily take them. This is a brand new BCBG Mac Azria skirt, and it sold for $15, and I got this with free, so that was great. So Taylor, thank you so much. This is an amazingly bad movie. I found this at the Benz. I paid 50 cents for this. The movie is Cruel. Krull? I think it's called Krull. Not Cruel. Krull. And this is one of Liam Neeson's first roles, like big acting roles. He doesn't play a main character, he plays a side character who actually is like a thief with multiple wives in like a bunch of different towns. The movie itself is a science fiction fantasy, and it is like mystery science theater level of bad. Like, it's so bad, it's good. Thoroughly enjoyable watch, like cracking jokes the whole time. Amazing, amazing movie experience. If you ever have an opportunity to watch this, please do so. But like, watch it with friends to where like you're cool with making jokes with each other, because it's gonna be worth it. Anyway, sold for $9.87, my full asking price, and I got to watch the movie. 10 out of 10 for me. Now, I will pick up the Twilight books when I find them. Mostly because they sell. For me, 1 through 4 doesn't sell as quickly as if I have 1 through 4 and Midnight Sun. So that's normally what I do, is I make sure that I have Midnight Sun in the set, because 1 through 4 is the original Twilight series. Midnight Sun is Edward's perspective. So there's two, if you don't know Twilight at this point, good for you. But it's a vampire book, very angsty. It's a YA novel, and it has two main protagonists, Bella and Edward, which they're love interests. There's also a triangle with a werewolf named Jacob. Anyway, 1 through 4 is Bella's perspective, Midnight Sun is Edward's perspective. Anytime I put this up for sale, it sells very quickly after I list them, so I will continue to make sets. Pretty much you can find these at any thrift store. This is roughly what you can expect, between $25 and $35 for them. Sold for $27.94. Perfectly happy with that. This is a vintage 80s top. This came from that big vintage buyout that I did forever ago that I still have so much to list from it. So I have a quarter into this shirt. It sold for $14.30. I've talked about how I will pick up lots of books from popular classic authors. So Mark Twain is definitely one of those. He's considered one of the great American novelists of his time. This is Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, and the Prince and the Pauper, some of his most well-known works. Sold for $11.87. I have 75 cents into these books. This is another bins find. I put it for sale on Whatnot. It didn't sell on Whatnot. It's a Hollister shirt from Y2K. It did sell for my full asking price of $24.87, and I paid less than $1 for this. So I love this sale. Surprised nobody had picked this up. I think it's just because they didn't realize it was a Y2K polo. They just saw Hollister and didn't know that, but I did, so yay me. This is Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an English Opium Eater. It sold for $7.47. I actually picked this up at that big book buyout I did because I was interested in reading this book. I still have a copy of this book that I found again. This one was worth reselling on its own, in my personal opinion, especially since I only paid 10 cents for this. So I went ahead and listed this copy, and I've kept the other one because it is a book that I do want to read. Sold, again, like I said, $7.47. Perfectly happy to do that. So this is a vintage 1960s Faith Austin, like little handkerchief, so little pocket square handkerchief. Not that exciting other than it's gorgeous. It's actually in great shape. This is why I like digging down to the bottom of the bins when I am at the bins, is because I find cool stuff like this that are cheap, easy listings. I mean, this is a handkerchief, so I probably paid like 10 cents for this thing. And while it is not like the Emilio Pucci scarf, which sold for $45, you know, this is still really nice to turn 10 cents into like $6. I think that that's great. And again, it's super easy to list. So, and it's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. All of Faith Austin's stuff is marked, so it's pretty easy to figure out if it's hers or not. This is a vintage 90s piece. This is peak, you know, early 90s to me. Got the paisley, got the stripes, got a nice little fade to it. This is J.J. Oliver. That really doesn't matter for vintage clothing. It's more of the style, not necessarily the brand that matters. I mean, the brand, if they're still popular today, definitely helps, but it's more style. This was a style-based pickup. So my full asking price of $19.87, which I figured it would because look at it. This is a Tommy Bahama piece. I don't find Tommy Bahama women's very often, so this was me seeing how it would do. I normally only find Tommy Bahama in like the men's button fronts that I seem to be the only person that still picks those up when I get them for cheap because they've made me quite a bit of money. They still make me quite a bit of money. So I wanted to try some of the women's stuff, and women's definitely doesn't sell as well unless you're doing like specific things. But sold for $10.50. I made $5 off it. I'm very happy. Western wear. I love selling pearl snaps if I can get them for really cheap. This is a Wrangler Western men's stuff. This is a thank you to Melissa because this is one of the items that she gifted me to sell last time I saw her. She knows how much I love buying and selling these pearl snaps. So thank you, Melissa. I appreciate that. It sold for $10.30, just a basic men's pearl snap from Wrangler. It's 100% profit to me because Melissa gave it to me. So Melissa, again, thank you. I've talked about these Hanes repair manuals before on my channel, that I always pick them up when I find them at the bins. How much you get for them is 100% dependent on what vehicle they are for. This is for a Oldsmobile Cutlass from the 80s. It sold for $10.87. I have a quarter into this, so that's pretty much why I always pick them up unless they're like in really, really bad condition. Because, you know, these are shop manuals, so you got greasy, oily fingers, dirty, working on cars type of people that are doing this. So unless it's like really bad shape, they're not going to care if it's like got some fingerprints on it or some smudges or a little bit of oil, as long as you can like still read it and it's in good enough condition to be usable, they will still buy it. And I keep selling them, so I think they're great. This is a book I've had forever. I actually picked this up at Diversity before I started this YouTube channel. I had a box of vintage and antique books that I picked up at Diversity when I was, I think, still living in Richmond. I bought these books thinking like I could sell them or do something with them, or I don't know. I don't know what I thought I was going to do with them, but eventually I decided to actually get them listed because, you know, I'm trying to get rid of my death pile. So I paid $6 for that box of antique and vintage books, and so I probably maybe have like a quarter into this. It sold for $9.87, which is my full asking price. This isn't a really popular book, so I'm just glad that it's found a new home and didn't end up in the landfill. This is Michael Moorcock, The Silver Warriors. In the UK release title is actually Phoenix and Obsidian. Michael Moorcock, I was really surprised that this didn't sell on Whatnot because most of his stuff normally sells really well on Whatnot. But I guess it's because this is the second book in the series, and this is not one of his most popular series, so I don't know. Anyway, it didn't sell on Whatnot, but it did sell on eBay pretty quickly after I listed it there. It sold for $9.87. I have a quarter into this book. Another Haynes manual. Sold for my full asking price of $14.87. See, the Oldsmobile Cutlass wasn't very expensive, but I got more money for trucks and SUVs and like sports cars. All of those for the Haynes manuals normally sell for more money, but regardless, they're all gonna sell as long as they're in readable condition. I love these books. I love picking up these books. This is actually from the book sale. This is Time Life magazine's complete Civil War collection from the 80s. So 28 volume set. I managed to find, well, I didn't even find this. Boy found this. I managed to get all 28 books in the set. I honestly had passed them when I was doing it was the fill a bag day. Mostly because I didn't want to go through to figure out if they were the full set or not. I was still looking at other stuff, and he told me that this was complete and that I should pick it up. And so I did. I paid it $10 because all of these fit into one bag, like fill a bag sale, they didn't care what size bag you brought, so all of these fit in one bag, so I paid $10 for that bag. And I cannot wait to go to that that book sale again. I have made so much money off of that book sale. But anyway, it sold for my full asking price of $139.87, and it sold very quickly after I listed it. Whenever I do these big volume sets that also are supposed to be like shelf candy, I do a stage shot. So this is on top of my Barrister bookcase with some decanters, sadly empty crystal decanters, to use as bookends because I can't keep bookends in my store at all. I don't find them very often. When I do find them, they sell immediately because I normally also do a stage shot to show what they would look like on a shelf. Anyway, that was a lot of explanation to say that not all Time Life books, like sets, sell this well, but specifically the Civil War one does, and that is because William Davis partnered with Time Life for a lot of the content within them, and William Davis is considered an expert in Civil War era history. Did you need to know that? Not necessarily. Do you know it now? Yes, you do. Anyway, super glad, really happy to turn $10 into like 100. And the last thing I have to share with you is also a book. This is I, a Prostitute by Nina Holm. This is from the 70s, you know, a little light smut from the 70s. Perfectly cool. Picked this up for a quarter at the bins. Sold for $7.87. That is everything I sold on eBay for the end of July. So this is when I had started doing the death pile demolition. So well, now we're gonna get into like the next what solds are gonna be, you know, what has sold for me since I started trying to just focus on demolishing my death pile and not like bring more stuff in. So hopefully you guys will be interested in watching those, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys next video. Until then, bye! Bye. Miss Moxie doesn't feel like she got enough screen time, so here y'all go. This is her in all of her kitty glory. No, right, baby. Now everybody praise her in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time.